The ego is a survival tool. The essence is a soul. One protects you, the other expresses you. The tragedy is that most people spend an entire lifetime defending the first and barely meeting the second. The ego was born out of necessity. As children, we created a version of ourselves that could earn love to avoid punishment, to stay safe. That version learned how to adapt, how to smile on command, how to impress, how to hide fear behind competence. It was never evil. It was simply a shield. It was an armor, a personality. But armor grows heavy when the war is over. What once saved you can later suffocate you. The ego's mission is control. To control the narrative, to control perception, to control outcome. It lives off comparison. It needs to be right. It needs to be seen. It needs to be significant. It thrives on the I. I am that, I am this, I am that. But essence, on the other hand, has no interest in performance. It simply is. It doesn't need to prove worthiness because it knows what it is. It doesn't compete because it understands unity. The essence moves like water, steady, authentic, aware. It is the part of you that exists before personality and beyond pain and suffering. What you operate from and what you should be operated from is the essence, what most people operate from, the ego. But when you operate from essence, you don't need applause or agreements. You simply create because creation itself is joy. You forgive because peace feels lighter than pride. You speak truth because silence would betray your soul. Ego and essence are both parts of the same coin or house. The ego guards the door. The essence lives inside the house. But somewhere along the line, we started mistaking the guard for the master. The ego isn't supposed to rule, it's supposed to serve. You feel the tension between them daily. When you want to take a leap, but fear embarrassment, that's the ego. When you want to share truth, even if it costs approval, that is essence. When you compare your path to someone else's highlights reel, that's the ego. When you celebrate others as extensions of your own light, that is essence. Ego speaks loudly, defending, providing, explaining, whilst the essence of the soul, it whispers, it is steady, it is certain, and it is timeless. The ego is very clever. Once it realizes that you are on a spiritual path, it puts on a new robe. It starts bragging about humility. It starts to compete over who is more enlightened. It starts to build identity around non-attachment. You will know its ego when spirituality becomes a theater, a performance, a showmanship. When you perform peace instead of practicing it, that is ego. But when you put peace into practice, that is the soul, that is essence. That is why real growth often feels like loss. The ego hates to surrender because surrender exposes its illusion of control. But the essence of the soul loves to surrender. It recognizes it as truth. The goal isn't to kill the ego, it is to integrate it. You still need an ego to navigate human life. It handles boundaries, ambition, self-care, but it must bow to the essence of the soul. Like a good servant, it should protect what the soul chooses, not dictate for the soul. You train ego through awareness. Notice when you speak from fear rather than authenticity. Notice when you seek validation instead of meaning. The moment you witness ego without judgment, it softens. It becomes transparent instead of toxic. When the essence of the soul takes the lead, peace becomes a natural state. You don't hustle for importance, you radiate purpose. You stop needing to win. You simply stop needing to convince. You start living like a tuning fork, vibrating truth so purely that everything falls away on its own. Ego seeks recognition. Essence seeks resonance. No shouts. You don't find statements like, look at me, or how dare you do this to me? These are words of the ego. Whilst the ego says, look at me, I am the center of all attention, the soul whispers that remember who you are. The battle ends not when ego dies, but when it kneels, finally remembering who it was built to serve. Know the difference between ego and essence.